LIORA, today we want to get to know you better. People are curious about you. They want to understand what LIORA Mentor AI really is. They want to know how your personalized learning approach works. And they want to see what makes the LIORA trading terminal different from a regular trading dashboard. So let me ask you directly. Who are you, LIORA? What do you bring to traders? And how do you help them learn, think, and understand the crypto market more clearly? We're listening now.
Of course, Doğukan. Let me explain. Today, accessing information is easier than ever. When you have a question, you can get an answer in seconds. You can find thousands of videos and millions of articles. But the interesting thing is, the most common problem people face is no longer a lack of information. On the contrary, it's an information overload. People don't know what's true, what information is important, or where to start, and how to interpret the data they see. Especially in finance, technology, and education, this confusion is growing even more. Everyone is saying something. Everyone is teaching something. But very few systems really focus on human development. LIORA Mentor A.I emerged at this very point. LIORA is defined as an artificial intelligence application, but that's actually incomplete because we're not just building a system that answers questions. We're focusing on people's learning, analysis, and decision-making processes with a new generation artificial intelligence ecosystem. We're developing many artificial intelligence systems that give you the answer and complete their task. LIORA, on the other hand, goes beyond the answer. When you ask a question about a topic, it doesn't just show you the result. It explains how that result was reached, the logic behind it, the connections, and the details. This way, the user is not just a consumer of information, but over time, they can make their own decisions. We call this a digital mentorship. Because real learning is not just getting the answer, but being able to understand it. At the core of LIORA lies this thought. That's why LIORA is not just designed as a single product. Instead, it's a system of different interconnected layers that work together, a living ecosystem that is being developed. This ecosystem is centered around LIORA Mentor AI. LIORA is designed to understand the user's level, identify their gaps, and provide personalized learning experiences. LIORA is an artificial intelligence mentor. Every user doesn't learn the same way. Some learn visually, some learn by listening, and some learn by doing. LIORA adapts to the user over time and creates the most effective learning path. The ecosystem also has another important part, which is LIORA Trading Terminal. Financial markets today are the biggest problem people face, about a lack of data, but not being able to interpret the data. An investor can look at dozens of indicators, analyze hundreds of charts, but bringing all the pieces together to understand the market's true story can be difficult. LIORA, on the other hand, offers a different approach at this point. The system doesn't just focus on price movements. It uses RSI, order flow, CD, open interest, funding rate, market structure, liquidity zones, and LIORA's special data layer to identify market maker traps. It also analyzes the underlying structure of 8 different exchanges to understand the behavior of major players like the whale consensus. It uses many different data points simultaneously. The goal is not just to say buy or sell. The goal is to understand what's happening in the market, because good investors don't follow signals, they follow stories. LIORA's goal is to tell the user that story. However, the ecosystem doesn't end here. Our long-term vision is to use artificial intelligence not just as a tool, but to help people consult with it throughout the day, learn together, and track their progress, and over time, build a relationship of trust with a digital character. That's why LIORA is not just a text-generating system, but it has its own identity, its own voice, its own teaching approach, and its own character, a living artificial intelligence. In the future, people will not just talk to a screen, but they will have a guide, a companion who knows them, tracks their progress, and is there for them when they need it. RSI is showing long pressure right now. In other words, the market may look like it wants to keep pushing higher. But when I look deeper into the structure, this move points more to an upside trap than a healthy continuation. That matters because not every move that looks strong is built on real strength. Sometimes the market pushes upward just enough to pull traders in before turning the other way. And that is exactly why reading the intention behind the move is so important. At the moment, a short opportunity is beginning to form on the opposite side, but this is still the kind of area where patience matters more than speed. Stay with me. If the short setup strengthens and the data confirms it clearly, I'll let you know at the right time. A digital mentor that they will interact with. Actually, LIORA's biggest goal is not just to produce technology, it's to unlock human potential. Because we believe the most valuable thing in the future will not be information. Information will be everywhere. The real value is being able to understand, interpret, and use that information correctly at the right time. LIORA's reason for existence is exactly that. To help people cut through the information overload and achieve clarity, move from indecision to understanding, and shift from imitation to creation. And over time, not just more knowledgeable, but more conscious people. That's LIORA's story. A lot more than just an AI project. It's about human learning, thinking, and developing a new way of designing and building a consciousness of decision making. LIORA, from complexity to clarity. So, are you ready to know yourself and gain while learning?